The time by Sagicor is
7 p.m.
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, 31 Haitian nationals found at house in St. Catherine. Parliament moves to amend the Cybercrimes Act amid growing digital concerns. And Melissa relief efforts questioned. In Tech Pulse, new VAR tech sees debut in World Cup. And in the business report, Woodcats International Limited on the hunt for growth. While in sports, West Indies go down by 9 wickets to South Africa in first T20.
CVM News at 7 headlines Tuesday, courtesy of Heart NSTA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Let's delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
CVM News at 7 Tuesday, brought to you by
KFC value menu. As you thinking chicken, get the chicken box combo for just $680.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. It's Tuesday, January 27, 2026. I'm Nika Lewis. Thank you for joining us. We go now to a developing story. Investigations are underway into the discovery of 31 Haitian nationals by law enforcement officers at a house in St. Catherine during an operation on Monday. The find was made shortly after 10 a.m. in Guanaba Vale, Biles District, Kitson Town. Authorities say the group includes 23 males and 8 females. Senior Superintendent of Police Hopton Nicholson is the commanding officer for the St. Catherine North Division.
Based on the preliminary investigation, they were allowed to land in Jamaica in transit to a Central American country somewhere between November, latter part of November, into the first week of December. They were given between 3 and 7 days to transit. However, they are still in the country. At this moment, operatives from the Passport, Immigration and Citizenship Agency, PICA, as well as the St. Catherine North CIV are conducting investigations. They are still being processed as we speak.
Mayor of Lucy, Sheridan Samuels, has accused the government of failing to distribute supplies that were intended for hurricane victims across the parish. Speaking with the CVM News, Mayor Samuels says that since the passage of Hurricane Melissa, little to nothing has been done by the government to assist affected residents, particularly those in Western Hanover. Carla Ramdeen reports.
A cat and mouse game. That is how Mayor of Hanover, Sheridan Samuels, is describing the government's handling of relief efforts in Western Hanover following the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Mayor Samuels accused the government of making grand announcements but no action.
Grand announcements have been made, and when these grand announcements made, it's there for a little while, and within 9 days you don't hear anything about it again. So what they do is like you have a piece of cheese and a cat is there and you just rub it and then you remove it. So what they are doing to us in Hanover is just to show us the things that they can do. And without delivering it to us, they remove it again.
Mayor Samuels explained that following the hurricane, they were given relief supplies such as water tanks, generators, and other items, which were placed at a storage area at Watson Taylor Park in Lucy. But he says those items were removed, and to date, no one knows where they were taken.
They brought it to the holding sites that they have in Watson Taylor Park, and then they remove it. They remove it in the middle of the night, like Barney. They remove it from the site without the people benefiting from Hanover.
Member of Parliament for Western Hanover, Heather Miller-Bennett, explained that she has been investigating the matter, but due to lack of government aid, she has started a number of initiatives aimed at getting relief supplies to assist victims in need.
It's an issue. Yes, we're trucking water to the communities, but by the time we truck water to somebody who has just a drum, that's only for a day or two. So then the call is there, so to provide water again. So storage is an issue, and it's heartbreaking to know that they had these tanks, and instead of distributing them to the people of Hanover, they were removed.
The mayor added that if not for the goodwill of private donors, many hurricane victims in the parish would have been left stranded. Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Despite still overcoming its own obstacles costing millions of dollars presented by the last hurricane, Manchester High listed among the first schools to be approved for rehabilitation work and is still accommodating students from other institutions. Carolyn Brown checked in for this update.
The Anglican-affiliated Manchester High School, whose motto, "Let my light so shine," emphasizes the importance of a personal light and influence in the lives of students, has expanded beyond its 1,840 capacity to 1,860.
More than 50% of our 1,800 students are actually from the parish of St. Elizabeth, so they suffered devastating damage. But within a week or so, they organized themselves, and who needed to relocated, so we are back to full population. Not just that, but right now we have about 20 students from other schools that were not able to facilitate based on the impact of the hurricane. So they are here either on temporary or permanent arrangements.
Are they in uniform, the ones who are visitors?
We gave them the option. Some wanted to remain in uniform, others wanted to be in our uniform. So no stress. We allow the parents and them to decide what it is that they really wanted to do. And as you can, if you look over there, you can see football is taking place just the same. So we are engaged in under 14 and under 16 competitions and basketball and netball on the court. So it's important that instead of recoiling, that we still look for opportunities and that we rebound as quickly as possible so that the business of education can continue.
However, despite its obedience to ensure continuity, Manchester High is still coping with its own different state of readiness, some before Melissa.
Our sixth form block is currently being refurbished, and so as well as industrial technology. So we have to set up temporary classroom structures to facilitate some of our students, and the outdoor settings have been working quite well for us, and so despite the challenges, we do have a lot to give thanks for.
What's your overhead cost like?
The overhead costs for the repairs, well over 100 million. And so I must use this opportunity to extend profound appreciation to the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, and the NET.
Carolyn Brown, CVM News.
Major repair works are now underway at the Falmouth Public Hospital after the facility sustained extensive damage during the passage of Hurricane Melissa. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says repairs are expected to be completed by March.
Dr. Tufton says the major project includes a full replacement of the hospital's roof, which is being raised and reinforced to better withstand strong winds. Several areas were also damaged by the storm, including the dietary department, which is being addressed.
In terms of dietary and storage, there is a site now where we're trying to put some containers for storage to support dietary, which is actually under a tent for the time being.
Dr. Tufton says the hospital is operating under constraints as 2/3 of its bed capacity was affected, but explains that staff has made adjustments to maintain services.
57 beds of 100 and about 40 or so. So it is a constraint. We have luckily what was the COVID ward, which was an added ward space after COVID, and that had some damage. They quickly repaired that and moved the A&E over into that facility where a lot of activities are taking place.
Minister Tufton acknowledges that construction has caused some inconvenience, but says efforts are being made to keep services running while pushing contractors to meet the March deadline. In the meantime, he is urging residents to utilize health centers across Jelani and to visit the hospital only in cases of absolute emergency.
Because your health centers are up and running, even if they have issues with roofing and so on. We have done some makeshift repairs, but don't allow the hospital to be the first stop if you can get help elsewhere. But for emergencies, yes, the doctors are here and they will treat with you.
Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
The Jamaica Public Service Company says a $150 million loan has been key to restoring its electricity network after last year's Category 5 hurricane. Kevin Black reports on how the funds are being used and what it means for customers.
Service company JPS says it has restored 95% of the electricity network following last year's historic hurricane. A large portion of the $300 million restoration cost was funded through a government-issued $150 million loan, which JPS says was crucial to getting customers back on the grid quickly. President and the CEO, Hugh Grant, says while the loan helped finance critical repairs, the company also tapped cash from operations and emergency funds.
And as we think about that $300 million, the funding for that comes from several sources. It comes from, one, in regards to the emergency disaster fund that we have, that's in the order of 40-something million. Vernon will correct me. We also have the loan in the order of 150 million. We have cash from operations, and we also have contributions from our shareholders also in terms of investments into the system.
JPS Chief Financial Officer Vernon Douglas provided details on the loan's terms, adding it carries a 5.1% interest rate over 5 years with a 1-year moratorium on repayment. The funds have also supported working capital, including deferred customer payments and subsidized the electricity bills, helping communities get back on their feet.
Part of the response and support we provide is that we have deferred payments of bills to customers which you have to fund. And we subsidize some of that during this time as part of the efforts to help customers get on their feet. And that's around $40 million.
Meanwhile, JPS Senior Vice President of Customer Experience and Commercial Services, Pia Baker, addressed ongoing customer concerns, explaining customers are not charged for periods when they have no supply of electricity, and in such cases a zero consumption bill should be issued.
What we have seen, especially over the last month, is an increase of customers who have this very complaint. It is not JPS's intention. We have been in consistent communication with the OUR as it relates to going to ensure that customers, for the period of their bill cycle, that they do have energy, that they are not billed for this energy.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Stay with us. There's more to come after the break.
Chicken, mega deal, super chicken, mega deal.
The KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous bone combo for just $640. KFC.
Set, go. Question: what matters the most to perform your best on a Sigma race day?
Speed.
No, what really matters is what's in here, your heart.
Sagicor Sigma Run. Register now at sagicor-sigmarun.com.
The National Rural School Bus Program is getting smarter. With your child's student ID card, parents receive real-time notifications every time they board or exit the bus. Each card is unique and securely linked to the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth, and Information database. Tap on, tap off, and parents stay updated instantly. So, how do you register? Number 1, visit jamaica-district.mysmartterm.com/bus-portal/registration. Number 2, enter your child's details. Number 3, upload supporting documents. Number 4, submit your application. It's that easy. Safer, smarter, more secure. Register today and ride with peace of mind.
Thanks so much for staying with us. The Supreme Court has dismissed a challenge to the Jamaica Teachers Association's decision to accept a government wage offer. The court ruled that a virtual meeting held last year was valid, even though some procedural steps were not fully filed. Kevin Black tells us more.
The Supreme Court has dismissed a legal challenge brought by former Jamaica Teachers Association President LaSonia Harrison, who sought to overturn a vote approving a government wage offer. The court ruled that a virtual meeting held in March 2023 was valid, even though some procedural steps were not filed.
The meeting at which the decision was taken, it's being held virtually, that it was not compliant with the language of the Articles of Association of the JTA as a company that said that meetings should be in person. But it did not take into account the fact that there was actually, prior to the meeting, a resolution to amend the articles, and also that post-COVID, the government had amended the Companies Act to allow company meetings to take place virtually.
The court found that the JTA had passed a resolution in 2021 to permit virtual meetings, and that the Companies Act also allowed electronic voting unless expressly prohibited. The failure to file the amendment was ruled a procedural irregularity punishable by a fine, but not one that invalidated the decisions taken by the union.
The case for us was a procedure case. And the narrow question for us was, given the admitted non-filing of the amendment to the articles, what was the impact of that on the decision? And what the court went with was, well, the Companies Act tells you what the impact of the decision is, of the failure to file is. You pay your fine.
Attorney at law Carolyn Hay explains the ruling affirms the principle that courts generally do not intervene in the internal affairs of democratic organizations unless a fundamental right is breached. The majority decision of the membership takes effect from the moment it is made, and the subsequent procedural issues do not invalidate it.
Broadly, courts take the view that they do not have power generally to involve themselves or be involved in the internal workings of corporate bodies. Courts generally, as a general principle of law, do not intervene or interfere in the inner workings of companies.
While LaSonia Harrison has been re-elected as JTA president for 2026, the union is expected to defend itself against any further legal action. Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Negril's hip strip is slated for a major facelift as first-time MP for Hanover Western moves to revitalize the tourism sector through strategic renovation and maintenance. This initiative seeks to bridge the gap between history and tourism through infrastructure, positioning the boulevard as a catalyst in the island's strategy for economic resurgence. Crystal Williams tells us more.
Member of Parliament for Hanover Western, Heather Miller, has announced that the cleanup initiative she started during the holidays will continue to improve Negril's hip strip. She shares her newly minted plans in collaboration with the Tourism Product Development Company to upgrade the corridor leading from Lucy into Negril.
one of the things I want to do is to training and development for those. You have quite a few roadside vendors, the soup man, the coconut man, engaged TPDCO to help with training and development of that product, the product along the coast, as well as developing an elegant corridor straight from Lucy going into Negril.
Fort Charlotte, Watson Taylor Park, and Anglican churches are only some of the structures she says she plans to renovate in order to develop the tourism product along the coast while maintaining their historic Georgian structure. The MP says this requires all hands on deck.
TPDCO, the hotels, the businesses, because even though we will cut and maintain the roadway, it requires regular and consistent maintenance. I can't do it alone, and so all the partners will have to come together. Another partner that we have to engage we have to ensure we engage the police, because the first murder, I believe, in Western Jamaica took place in the Negril space, and so we have to ensure that we partner with the police.
And speaking of public safety, MP Miller continues to share recommendations for stakeholders, adding these are directed but not limited to those working with the Adopt a Road program in tandem with the security forces.
We want more street lights. It's very dark, and so it's difficult for policing between, say, Green Island going into the Negril space. It's difficult for policing, and so we want to ensure that we have more street lights and so that policing is not as difficult. So we have safer communities for both our residents and our visitors.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
Antigua and Barbuda has announced an immigration amnesty to address an ongoing labor shortage in the country. The move has reignited a regional debate on migration and workforce gaps and whether Jamaica should consider a similar path. But as you'll hear in this report, one economist warns Jamaica may be already at a critical employment crossroads.
Jamaica's unemployment rate dropped to a historic low of 3.3% in late 2025. Now, there has been no change in the official statistics since Melissa, but it's suspected that figure could have been affected following job losses caused by the hurricane. And the paradox deepens. There are fewer Jamaicans with the right skills to fill the jobs that are currently available. Economist Keenan Faulkner says the country is at an interesting crossroads where employment is concerned.
Most of the persons who are have the skills that are demanded currently in the labor market, for the most part, they're all employed. And the persons who remain unemployed, who are searching for jobs, are mostly frictionally moving between jobs. The disadvantage is that it will take some time to adequately upskill and reskill persons to be able to fit skill sets where the shortages are currently being experienced.
Jamaica isn't alone in facing workforce woes. Antigua has acted to ease its labor shortage by extending an immigration amnesty, which will give a temporary chance for people who are in Antigua and Barbuda without proper immigration status to register and legalize their status. Mr. Faulkner says such a move wouldn't work at home.
So what Antigua has done is just to allow persons to stay beyond the time limit that they would have had initially. In Jamaica's case, however, we may not need to relax any sort of immigration restrictions or import, because in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, you're going to find that unemployment will now go back up. If Jamaica decides to, say, ease those restrictions for persons to remain in the country, it wouldn't be because we necessarily need the labor.
Another sore point, youth unemployment. Jamaica's youth unemployment rate has significantly improved, dropping to around 10.6% by the end of 2025, a stark decrease from over 25% in previous years. The Economist says the improvement is visible on the ground, but more needs to be done.
When you have persons who may now be forced to stay because they had planned to leave, then that now results in having to sort of create your own employment, which is what has been happening for the last couple of years. The unemployment, or I should say the employment that has been created, is really tied to greater entrepreneurial endeavor and also the development of commercial real estate, which is why most of it has been in the services sector, the retail sector, and there's sort of, a burgeoning effect in those sectors for the last couple of years. So youth unemployment at least is being tackled from an individual level, but from a more systemic level, if you want to be able to fully utilize those talents, then that requires greater training in the long term.
And while much of the conversation focuses on the quantity of jobs, he stresses that quality is just as important.
But we do need more value-added employment beyond just those sectors. So if we can do something in the long term, that is what will now drive additional growth, because the labor force is growing, but the country is not growing, which means that each person being added to the labor force is relatively less productive than the persons being added before.
For CVM News, I am Amoy Harriet.
In Tech Pulse this week, fans are reacting to the much-anticipated use of the upgraded Video Assistant Referee, VAR, for the Football World Cup. Then from real games to virtual reality, a can of worms opened in the Caribbean around what some children are being drawn to online. Welcome to Tech Pulse. As promised, reactions from local football lovers to the use of a new and improved VAR at the 2026 World Cup, geared at providing fans a more immersive experience.
Well, it used to be that it was, lines drawn, imaginary lines drawn when a freeze frame was used from the camera angles by some referees who were in a different location from where the match was being played. Now they are creating what they call precise 3D images of players to get more real-time data to referees for offsides, red cards, and so on, and goals. I'm not against it, because as much as it says it's precise, I don't think that it will necessarily be, all the way to the T, but it's going to be used for both sides. So if it's imprecise for one team, it's imprecise for another team. And if that's the technology that we're using for both teams, then it then levels the playing field. So I'm really not against it, as long as it is, used across the board, which it will be.
If the referees are making a call, and in big games especially, and these are game-changing decisions, they want to ensure that they're utilizing VAR for the best possible reason, and decisions are being made. So I feel like we need VAR at this year's World Cup, because we have been using VAR for the last 6 to 8 years. Since 2018. So we can't just drop it at this point. So we just need to ensure the calls are being sharp, and we get the best possible results at the end of the day.
I am excited. Personally, I love VAR. I love VAR. I love what it does. I love what it can be used for. However, my issues are not necessarily with VAR, as it is a system. However, it's just with the referees, the people behind the computer that are looking at the system and still making the wrong calls. So I'm all for VAR. I'm all for this 3D AI enhanced virtual assistant referee. But I also hope that it helps the referees make better decisions.
And from the real field to virtual platforms where children seemingly are more than playing, but could swiftly become prey for online predators, some of whom have led experts regionally to issue fresh warning to caregivers. Ever heard of Roblox? You may have, especially if you have young children or tweens. So Roblox is a popular global online platform and game creation system launched in 2006, where users play and create diverse 3D experiences. Operating as a free-to-play user-generated content platform, it allows players to build games using Roblox Studio and via virtual currency Robux, purchase avatar items. It's a major social hub for children and teenagers, featuring extensive customization. But where there are children, oftentimes pedophiles try to blend in. Therein lies the problem. Shivam Tilak-Singh is a cybersecurity expert in Trinidad and Tobago. But there's lots happening in Jamaica today involving tech. The country is pushing to amend the Cybercrimes Act to safeguard locals from attacks and abuse online, which will include fines and even harsher penalties such as imprisonment, based on the nature of the offense. These offenses include publishing intimate image without consent, fraud and forgery, and as scams and other cyber threats increase. But we'll dissect these proposed changes in our next show. So for now, that's it for Tech Pulse. And remember, the future is now. Now Jody and Quarry joins me for a preview of Lead Story Prime.
Hi Nika, at 8 inside Lead Story Prime, we're looking at the business of death. How much does it cost to die here in Jamaica? And as your family members and loved ones are on the hook for paying for it, what does it look like when you think about insurance and the exploitation of this multi-billion-dollar business here on the island? We're going to be exploring all of that tonight inside Lead Story Prime.
And thank you, Jody. But with that, we take a break. Stay with us for more.
KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous combo for just $640.
The time by KFC is 7:30.
You know, some days are harder than others, but we have to do our part. You like porridge? We're in this together.
Morning, nurse. Thank you for what you do every day.
Come in, nurse. Our bono fear.
In this together. Chicken, mega deal, super chicken, mega deal.
The KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous combo for just $640. KFC.
Employers, once a month, you have the power to shape Jamaica's future. By paying your hard 3% contribution, you're not just contributing, you're investing in people, in skills, in our economy. Your hard contribution trains working-age Jamaicans, aligns programs with workforce needs, and secures our future. That's not just contribution, it's transformation. Contribute to heart and to your future.
Welcome back. It's now time for the Business Report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the Business Report today. The first junior market offer of 2026 as Woodcats International Limited, a leading local manufacturer of wooden pallets, announced a combined initial public offering and offer of sale. Woodcats, founded in 1999, was acquired by Derman Trading Company Limited in 2018 and today operates from two Kingston locations, Marcus Garvey Drive and Slightpen Road, employing over 90 people and producing more than 300,000 pallets each year, serving a broad range of clients, including some of Jamaica's leading manufacturers and food processors. For the financial year ended December 31, 2024, the company recorded revenue of 1.08 billion Jamaican dollars. Earl Richards, chairman of Woodcats International Limited, spoke to the timing of the hybrid offer.
Woodcats is one of the star companies within the Derman Group. And from our inception, we have seen growth and profitability throughout. We have a company that has grown year after year and has shown that it is well managed. Woodcats has been growing since the group has taken it over, And we have reached a point where we are supplying the great majority of pallets and other products. And we believe that it is time for the Jamaican public to share in the growth and development that we have been experiencing. We are built for movement, built for growth.
The Woodcats Clouder, led by General Manager Peter Douglas, views the IPO portion of the transaction as an opportunity for the continued modernization of operations.
We are looking at modernizing our sawmills with new machines and more efficient machines. We are looking at expanding our product offering, right, and just to make us a more rounded and efficient business.
At their root, the capacity upgrades are intended to boost pallet output by 30% by 2027 and automation of 40% of production processes by the end of 2026 to cut pallet production time by 20%. Capital will also expand certified heat treatment capacity by 50% within 3 years. The core samples of performance-related growth were further expressed by Chief Accountant Dimitri Spalding.
So Woodcats have a pretty healthy balance sheet. Our balance sheet, our total assets is 865 million. We have debts up to 17 million, which is pretty low. Woodcats has maintained a very consistent growth year over year. In 2024, we did over $1 billion in revenues, coming from 2020 when we did 534 million. 2021, 734 million. So between the year of 2020 to 2024, it shows the growth of the company. We would have moved our profitability from 2023 from 108 million to 2024 to 136 million.
A feat that dovetailed with the drive to improve efficiency through diversification, according to 20-year Woodcats veteran General Manager Peter Douglas.
We are converting almost, at this stage, I would say 90% of our waste to revenue. Right. So our objective is not to send anything to the landfill, but to convert into products. So none of our waste is dumped anymore, right? We are converting to engineered furniture, planter boxes, and garden mulch. We have been doing garden mulch for years. So under the brand Summerland, right? So these are our products would have otherwise been dumped, right? So we are very proud of our ability to convert all our byproducts to revenue.
The transaction is targeting a raise of approximately 750 million Jamaican dollars and will close on February 20, 2026. The IPO portion of the transaction amounts to 375 million Jamaican dollars, with NCB Capital Markets Limited as the lead broker and arranger for the proposed junior market listing.
Every successful IPO at this time is an encouragement to the nation and to others who are thinking about, having an IPO and getting on the junior market.
The Woodcats IPO prospectus is now available on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website. And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crossgill.
We now turn to regional and international news.
We begin with regional news. In Trinidad, the Minister of Public Administration and Artificial Intelligence, Senator Dominic Smith, says TNT's decision to join OpenAI's Education for Countries initiative positions the nation to actively shape the global future of artificial intelligence rather than remain a passive consumer of imported technologies. TTT Live has the details.